We are interviewing Mr. Paul G. Fleming at the Saratoga Armory. It is July 30th, 2001. Interviewer is Michael Akey. Videographer is Wayne Clark. Mr. Fleming, where were you born?
Born here.
In Saratoga?
1933. Yeah. Saratoga Hospital.
Uh-huh. And your family was from here?
They're all buried here.
Oh, you grew up in Saratoga?
Yes.
What was growing up in Saratoga like in the 30s and early 40s?
It was rural. 5 o'clock the mayor used to roll the sidewalk up. That's how dead it was. Except during August.
Uh-huh.
For the racing season. Of course, the big hotels were here then too.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember riding in my cousin's car in a Model T Ford in Saratoga.
Amazing. You went to high school here?
No, I quit school.
You
I
quit
went to
school?
number 3 school. I later passed the GED test in the service,
Okay.
where I had to go back to school.
Okay. When did you decide to join the service?
1949, of course, I joined the National Guard. New York
Okay.
National Guard, right here.
Why did you join the Guard?
All my friends were in here.
Ah.
They're all, a lot of their pictures are on the wall over there. Porky Clark, Mickey Nichols, he's passed away. Stevens was the first sergeant, he's passed away. The Todd brothers.
So what was the Guard like in...
It was a nice group of guys. It was close-knit. We were an infantry outfit. So you had to depend on everybody. Now, I don't know what it is today, but that's what it was then. And we went to Pine Camp.
Okay. What was Pine Camp like?
That's Fort Drum today.
Right.
It was like just after World War II. No wooden barracks, no wooden PX. And we dug in, made a pillbox for the machine gun, which we got high credits on. Because they parked the Jeep on top of it. They didn't know we were down underneath it. But it was a good outfit. We made all kinds of parades.
So this was the 105th?
105th.
What company?
Company L.
Company L 105th.
25th Infantry Division.
Okay. And you were a machine gunner?
I went for 2 weeks of camp. I went from ammo bearer to first gunner.
Oh.
And firing it on 1,000 inch range. Yeah.
What was camp life like down there?
Well, the first year was, you didn't know what you were doing really. I was a runner. I was going to different outfits, taking messages. I didn't even know I was in the right place. But it was interesting. As I said, all the guys were from my street, most of them, the Maple Avenue gang.
You drilled
Monday nights.
Monday nights?
And every weekend. Or every other weekend, yeah. They had a rifle range here in Saratoga.
Right.
Where we went and fired the M1s.
The commanding officer was?
Our lieutenant was in charge of this, was Iso. He later became Colonel Iso.
Oh.
When, after I retired, he was here for the 100th marking of the building here. I forget what they called it.
Anniversary, the 100th?
Yeah, but they had the Masons down there doing the cornerstone, and he was here that day. Porky Clark, he was a sergeant here too. But they were privates with me.
So life in the Guard was pretty good?
It was a good outfit, yes. Yeah. I stayed 2 years and 9 months.
2 years and 9 months.
And Rockefeller didn't want to send us overseas to Korea, so I joined the Marine Corps to go to Korea. Because all my buddies that left here from the Guard went to active Army, come back with all the ribbons on and all that. So
that looked pretty
good.
I
gotta get some too.
Why the Marines?
There was a diner up near the old railroad station, and the dishwasher come home and dressed blues. And he said, take some man to wear his uniform. So I did. And I've never seen him again.
So you enlisted here, or in Albany?
For the Marine Corps, yeah.
For the Marine Corps?
Yeah. And they had to sign my papers, which got a lot of stuff going on along the way. Because when I was in Korea, I got a draft notice. My mother sent it to me. And I told my first sergeant, I said, I gotta go back to New York. He said, why? I said, I just got drafted to the Army. He said, they can't draft Marines into the Army.
Now, you went off to Parris Island?
Parris Island.
Was that your first time away from home? For any length?
Well, with the National Guard, Pine Camp.
Oh, okay, right.
We were away from home.
So, did you have any idea of what to expect?
Yes, because I had already tore the M1 apart blindfold and put it back together. I tore the 30 caliber machine gun apart and put it back together. So I basically knew all the weapons in the 45.
Was Basic a little different though than Pine Camp?
Yes, quite a bit different. If you made the wrong move, you found out real quick like what a number 9 shoe felt like.
So what'd you think of basic?
It was rough. It was fair though. But then I was 19 then. I could run, I weighed 139 pounds soaking wet.
So you got through basic, and then where?
Then we went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina for motor transport school.
Okay.
When I went into the Marine Corps, I put in for motor transport. I said, I was a machine gunner in the Guard, and I ain't carrying one of them things around Korea. I want to drive. So I did. I went to motor transport. Learned how to get trucks out of mud, deadfalls and everything.
Pretty good training?
Oh yeah, very good training. Very good training.
And after Camp Lejeune?
We went to Pendleton for infantry training, advanced infantry training. From there we went on over to Korea.
Okay. So you got over to Korea when?
1953, March, cold. I remember we had to go off the nets on a ship, and there was a guy in a white jacket and a white table, and I said, he's waiting for me. Sure enough, he was. Yellow fever shot. I didn't get it. But then we went to Ashcom City where we were issued weapons. We couldn't bring any weapons into the country after so many were brought in. So we had to take what was recycled.
Really? Why is that?
There's something in the armistice with the Koreans or something that we could only have so many weapons in country. But then we rode the train up from there to Yangdong-po, which was the railhead for the trucks coming down this way, where they picked us up and took us. I went to the 5th Marine Regiment. And we were just about opposite Panmunjom.
What was life like in Korea in the winter?
In the winter it was cold. But luckily in motor transport we had the Jeep, the trailers for water, and we take the steam jenny and put the wand in the water trailer, and it was parked on a hill, and we heat the water till we had hot showers. But if you went to the regular showers, you might go on a private and go back out of master sergeant because they used to stamp the stripes on the uniforms then.
Really?
So then they come out with the little metal chevrons on the sleeves. But it wasn't bad. I lost my high frequency hearing in Korea.
Why? How?
Was driving underneath a 155 battery. They never fired all the time I was there. And that day they decided to fire. And you could feel the concussion come down in the canvas of the Jeep, you know. But, of course, we were getting shot at all the time by theirs and by ours, I think, sometimes. But I was assigned to the S2 section of Korea, the intelligence section. So I had to go to the outpost. You only had to go before the lines 3 times a month to get combat pay. Well, I was going 3 times a day, bringing everybody else up. You know, first sergeants and the lieutenants and the warrant officers, they all want to get their combat pay. So they had to go before the company, past the company to get it. But I took all their oil, their food, their ammunition, their mail, up to the OPs every day.
What was that like?
It was a pretty hard experience. It was Hill 229, just about straight up with the Jeep. When we first got there, we had the Ford Jeeps, the regular World War II type Jeep. And then later we got the M38A1, which was the rounded fender Jeep. I blew out many a fuel pump going up that hill. And coming back down too because you were in low gear.
Right.
And the gooks thought it was a tank. When you're in 4-wheel drive double reduction, it makes as much noise as a tank going up them hills, and they would start lobbing mortar rounds in. So
you were a popular guy?
Yeah. Trying to get out of there. I took a lieutenant up one day. I said, Lieutenant, you can only stay about 5 minutes. And he was new, Corporal told him he could only stay 5 minutes. And he went in, they started shelling. I said, told the lieutenant they're going to shell us. We got to get out of here, or they'll blow the road up. So we went back down the hill.
You were mainly billeted in tents?
Tents, right. With wooden floors. They had wooden floors, and we had stoves. They were like a little pot-belly stove they used to have years ago.
Right.
And but they were kerosene. And you put them out at night. And somebody had to volunteer to get up in the morning to light them up again. They didn't want to burn at night because of the fumes.
Was it a pretty active hill?
Yes. Well, we were right up there in the line. Then after I drove the S2 section, I also hauled prisoners of war back at night.
Oh, what was that like?
That was experience, VIP prisoners of war, though. There was like old Papazans and some females that accompanied them. And I had to stand guard over them with an M1 rifle back in the Army hospital. And back in the hospital was where they interrogated all these people. And, they interrogated and we couldn't touch them, the Marines. The Army could, but we couldn't. And it was interesting. I don't think they'd do anything. They wanted to get out of North Korea, I think,
Right.
what they wanted to do.
What, how was the food?
Well, it was not a sea ration, but the next one up from the sea ration. I think a 5-in-1 ration or something. They prepared it by cooks. Well, people were claimed to be cooks. But it wasn't bad.
What'd you do for recreation?
There was no recreation. You worked 7 days a week.
Really?
You were on the road someplace, hauling somebody. Like I had to go to the rear one day and pick up a load of Thompson machine guns because the infantry didn't want to go out against a burp gun with just an M1. They wanted something with firepower, even if they didn't hit nothing, make a lot of noise like the North Koreans did.
So how long were you in the line?
Well, we were up there for 2 months and they pulled us out to go to Corps Reserve,
Okay.
which was in Camp Casey on the west coast of Korea. We were out for a week and the Army lost it all. So they called us back out of Corps Reserve, back up on the line again.
How'd the Army lose a hill?
Politics, you know, they say, okay, you got to give that hill back. So they gave it back, but then we had to go fight for that hill back again. We lost a lot of guys.
So that was your main experience with the Army?
Yeah, over there.
So your tour in Korea lasted about how long?
13 months.
13 months.
And I went back to, where did I go? Albany, Georgia. No, Cherry Point, North Carolina. Marine Wing Service Group 27, where I had re-enlisted for 6 years. And they said, we need someone with a long time to go. And of course, I had 6 years to go. So they transferred me to Norfolk, Virginia. I spent 7.5 years at Norfolk, Virginia. Every day putting a transfer to get out of there.
Why did you re-up?
The money was good at the time, and I just got married the first time. So it
Seemed like a good idea.
seemed like a great idea. Well, I didn't have the education
Right.
to have, come out and get a real good job. I worked in the GE when I was in the Guard, but I left that to drive taxi here in Saratoga,
Now you got your GED when you were in the Corps?
in Albany, Georgia.
Okay.
No, Norfolk, Virginia, I got it, yeah, 57.
So you didn't like Norfolk?
Yeah, we drove Navy staff cars, you know, dress uniforms all day long. And everybody was a sergeant. We were all buck sergeants, 3 sergeants. The boss down. So it was really, you know, a lot of friction there when everybody's the same rank. Who's going to do the work? You know, like you wash and wax the cars all day long. And then you go to the flight line, pick up officers, take them home to the quarters or to BOQ.
You were there how long?
7.5 years. The IG used to come down every year and say, Sergeant Fleming, we're going to get you out of here yet. Yes, sir. Next year, come down. You still have Sergeant? Yes, sir. Finally, they had a sergeant that just got there, had orders to go to Okinawa. So I went up and seen the man. I said, we got the same MOS, the same rank. Why can't I go and he stay here for another 7 years? So they sent me over to Okinawa.
So what'd you do over in Okinawa?
Motor transport. I was with the 3rd Anti-Tank Battalion when I got there. That was the Antos with 6 recoil rifles on it. And we were at Mount Fujiyama when we joined the outfit. And we had to fly over. From there they sent us to Laos, which was never in the record book. But the Antos all went ashore. The wheeled vehicles didn't, so we stayed aboard ship. Then we went to back to Okinawa, to our home base. It was like a float. And, from there, where'd they go?
So you didn't actually land in Laos?
The 5 of us did, the outfit did.
Okay.
Didn't get my medal for that either.
Okay. And then you went back to, was it Okinawa?
Yeah, yeah. I spent my 13 months in Okinawa.
What was that like, living in Okinawa?
It wasn't bad then because their police couldn't say nothing to us. The MPs ran the base, all the different branches, and they more or less just took care of the Okinawa people. They weren't Japanese then; they were Okinawan, Ryukinawans.
Okay.
An Army 3-star general was the High Commissioner, General Lambert. Was his name.
So life was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it was expensive. You get drunk there, you'd be an alcoholic. I think it cost $1.25 for a fifth of vodka
It's cheap.
at the clubs.
So what'd you do for recreation?
We went on a lot of bus tours to sake plants and where they made sake and the stuff you put on your rice. I forgot the name of it now. I use it all the time.
Soy.
Soy sauce. Went to the Cave of the Virgins. That's during World War II. They were, when the Marines were landing, the Japanese told all the girls that they'd be raped by the Americans, so they all jumped off the cliff. And some stayed in the cave and they got flamethrowers burning. They asked them to come out. They didn't know what was in there. So most of the Okinawa people didn't like military. They liked the money, but they didn't like the military.
So it wasn't a real good relationship?
Not with most of them. All of them. It was rocky roads.
So did you, and after your tour at Okinawa?
Then I went to Albany, Georgia.
Oh.
Marine Corps Supply Depot. The first tour there I was in, like we drove civilian cars and buses. I was a licensed NCO. And I took them out of road tests and gave them license. And when I didn't have nothing to do, I had the burial detail. I had to go all over Georgia, Alabama, Florida. It was always on the weekends. I had the rifle detail and I had the pallbearers. We had 2 Plymouth station wagons. We used to go out every weekend.
So you're fairly busy?
Yes, a lot of Vietnam veterans were coming back. We couldn't open them because I don't think there was a body in there just to wait.
All right. What'd you think of that detail?
I didn't really like it, but it was something somebody had to do. So we got out of a lot of regular work to do it. Except on the weekends, you always went to a funeral on the weekend. You only drove about 4 or 5 hours to get there. Then I got a set of orders to go back to Vietnam in '69. And they had just pulled the 3rd Division out of Vietnam. The 1st Division was the only one left. So I went to Okinawa instead for another tour. I went to 9th Motor Transport Battalion, with big truck, we had tractor trailers. And they wanted to send the staff sergeant down to be interviewed by the general for the general's chauffeur. And so they sent 4 of us down. 2 guys had never been overseas in combat, and the other guy was a goof off. And I was the only one from Korea and Vietnam. And so I got the job. I stayed with him for 2 years.
What general was this?
General Lewis H. Wilson.
What was he like?
He was great, great guy. Big, tall guy from Mississippi. He had the Medal of Honor from World War II.
So he was
He took care of the troops more than the officers. He threw an officer out before he was a trooper.
You were with him how long?
2 years.
2 years. What's typical duty being a general's driver?
Well, I pick him up at his quarters. Well, the car stayed at his quarters. In fact, I used to walk up to get the car. So I bought a little Monza for $50 so I could drive back and forth. And I pick him up, drive him to his office. He'd go up the fire escape to his office. I'd park the staff car. I'd run up and get coffee, bring his coffee to him. And then he'd settle down and read all his correspondence because he had 3 or 4 different hats he wore. He was the commanding general of all Marines in the Pacific. And he was somehow with the fleet. And so he was real busy. And I had a sergeant for an A driver. He drove every other day and I drove every day. Well, the off day we would drive the Jeep. which had big red, white, blue seat covers on it, with Marine Corps emblems on it, and the extra tires, bigger tires. And we'd go down and get his shoes repaired, or get his uniforms cleaned.
Pretty good duty?
Oh yeah, it's good duty, great duty.
Nobody gave the general's driver too hard a time?
No, no. I picked up an Okinawa girl one day and brought her in a Jeep. And the MP at the gate says, "You can't do that." I said, "I can't do that." So I got up back up to the office, and I heard the captain talking to the officer today. The captain says, he wears the stars too. If he said he bringing a girl in the general's car, that was the general's tailor. She took care of his uniforms. And then one day the general sent me down to PX and he wanted a shaving kit. He didn't know which one he wanted. So I took the staff car and went down. And the roadmaster come by. He says, "There's not supposed to be any military vehicles parked here." He said, "We'll give you a ticket." "Oh, go ahead." So I went and got the 3 shaving kits, brought them out, the ticket was on the windshield. I said, "Told you not to do it." He was my bunkie too. We had the same quarters. I said, "Told you not to do that." He said, "Well, I'm doing it." So I went back up and generally got a ticket on your car. "For what?" I said, "He sent me down to PX. They said no military vehicles can park at the PX." He still gave you the ticket. I said, "Roadmaster." So I went to my quarters that night. The guy's packing Paul's gear. I said, "Where you going?" "I just got transferred to the northern part of this country." I told him not to give me a ticket.
So that was a pretty good deal.
Yes.
And after that, what'd you do?
Well, when we left, he left Okinawa before I did.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to break in the new general's driver for the new general.
Gotcha.
And so I broke him in, I think, in 2 weeks. And I had about another 4 weeks to go before I could rotate back home. So the general called me in the office one day. He says, "Sergeant Fleming, you just wrote a new order up. Anybody that doesn't have a job can rotate back to the States." So I'm rotating you back to the States. See, General Wilson's waiting for you back in Quantico. So when I was only going to take a 15-day leave. I had 30 on the books, so I took 30-day leave. And I reported into the base. The guard at the gate says, "Holy mackerel," said, "General Wilson's been down there every day looking for you." Report right to his office. So I went in and the captain says, new aide, he says, "Why don't you finish checking in and go home for the weekend?" Okay? So I drove all the way back to New York for the weekend. And I came back in Monday morning. He said, "Did I catch hell about that?" The general said he wanted to see you as soon as you got here. He said, "Even if I'm in a meeting, you can break the meeting up." So he said, "Sergeant Fleming," he says, "they don't salute me on this base." He said, "The grass is up to your knees." He says, "Got to have something done about that." "Yes, sir." I'd stop the car if the guy didn't salute. "Give me your ID card. Meet me over at the Sergeant Major's office." After a while, the word got out. That staff car come down the road. They saluted.
I'm sure it didn't take long to get the word out.
No, the 3-star general was an air wing general pilot, so he didn't enforce it. You know, where my boss was what they call a grunt, infantry type officer.
And what was this general like?
That was the same. That was Wilson.
Oh, that was Wilson.
I went right to Wilson.
Okay.
So, and I had my first wife said to me, "If you stay in, you're going to get divorced." Well, I got divorced anyhow. But I got out. I went to the general and said, "Would you mind if I retired?" He said, well, I asked his wife first. I said, "Do you think the general will mind if I retire?" And she says, "No, anything you want to do, the general's for it." So I said, "General, would you mind if I retire?" "You got enough time?" "Yes, sir." He said, "Okay, you find me a good replacement." And so I found another sergeant from New York to take my place. He was from Syracuse. And then I said, "General," I said, "they got a thing called Project Transition." "I know." I said, "I want to go to mechanic school." He said, "You've been to 3 mechanic schools." I said, "This is civilian school, Fairfax, Virginia, Buick Motors. In the last 6 months of your tour, you can go, you know." I should have been a bartender when we got a job in a hotel in Washington. So I did. But then I came back and he said, "I'm going to let you out early." I got out before Christmas. Even so my paper said January 1, 72, which is about 31 years ago.
So you had how much time in altogether?
Altogether I had 22 and 9.
Didn't want to go back into the Guard after that?
Couldn't.
Oh, couldn't.
once you retire and you're on pension, you can't go back. I could have joined the state guard, the ones that don't get paid. Call me there, Washington Avenue, but I didn't want to go into that. Why do something for nothing?
True.
And I was one of the original 14 that started the Tri-County Council of Vietnam Veterans.
Well, tell us about that group.
Well, they were a lot of radicals. They ponytails and beards. Of course, I was being shaved and everything. We first started out, we met at Clancy's Bar on Central Avenue, upstairs over the bar. In fact, Jack Clancy was the first president of the club. Then we moved up to Joe's Tavern on Central Avenue, and we had our meetings over his, top of his pool.
When did this group start?
Reagan was still president. About 81.
Okay. And why did you guys decide to start the group?
We broke away from DVA.
Why?
Because there was a couple of them in Albany that belonged to it. They were up at the ups in it. That were making a killing off the veterans. And Como even kept them on. I forget the names now. But one of them was Saratoga. I think his name was Miller. I'm not sure. And so they wouldn't let us have our own chapter in Albany. Because they said that was the main office in Albany. So we broke away. Wanted to be Tri-County Council of Vietnam Veterans.
What was the goal of the group?
To help veterans. They still do. I'm not active no more since I moved up to Half Moon. But Christmas, they have Christmas in July. They take collections and they buy Christmas presents for all the children of the veterans that are disabled, don't have jobs. Plus they give them money for food and everything.
Is it mostly Army or is it a mixed
All
bag?
branches.
All branches.
There's a lot of sailors with those little boats that rode around the little Mekong Delta. They were, a lot of them were in it. Air Force guys. But all the branches there.
Pretty good group?
It was at first. Then, as I said, I broke away and I went back to different types of people.
Yeah.
I didn't know where they were when we started because we couldn't get 20 people out for a parade.
Are you in the VFW at all?
Yes, I belong to Half Moon VFW.
American Legion?
I had 25 years in American Legion drive out. Because to me, a veteran is someone that goes overseas. Somebody that stayed in New Jersey, I can't consider him a veteran. He was in the service, but he's not. What kind of veteran is he? Yeah. Or someone that went to Germany and says he was in during the Korean War, but he was in Germany. That's a long way from Korea.
Yes.
And yet they got the medals that we got when we went to Korea. Except the stars, stars in it.
So looking back at your service career, what are your general impressions?
I didn't really want to get out when I did, but I got out. Civilian life is a lot harder than military life. In the military, you know what you're going to do from day to day, and you haven't got to worry about impressing the boss to stay in. They can't fire you unless you really break the rules and regulations, and you can't quit.
Simplifies things, doesn't
That's
it?
right.
What did you do when you got out? Did you retire? Or?
No, when I got out, let's see, my wife had me a job working for Headley Cadillac in Troy, New York, as a mechanic. I didn't like that job at all. I stayed there about 7 months. At the time, I belonged to the Marine Corps League on Osborne Road. And one of the guys was a bus driver, so he said, come on down and drive bus. So I said, okay. So I went down, put in for the bus. I had to learn the city of Albany in 2 weeks to drive bus, all the different routes. And I never was in Albany, only to join at the railroad station.
So this is what, CDTA?
Pardon?
CDTA?
No, it was United Traction then.
United Traction.
Then it went to CDTA.
Okay.
And I left there, I got tired riding up and down Central Avenue. Every 15 minutes up and every 15 minutes back. So I went down and drove for Mountain View Coach. Because they went to New York City, Buffalo, Boston.
Driving in Boston is different than driving in Albany.
Yes, definitely. But they used me for filling for the summer.
Gotcha.
But they're out of business now anyhow. So then I went to SEAL test, driving tractor trailer, all North Jersey every night. They're out of business too. You notice there's no SEAL test no more.
No, but the Marines are still in business, so you don't
Right.
put them all out.
Right. But I think the military today, I don't know why nobody wants to join. I mean, sure you're going to have to go overseas, and sure you're going to have to fight an enemy, one way or another. But it beats hanging around the corner. And that's what most of the kids today are doing, I think. They're hanging around the corner. They don't want to win.
So, how do you view your National Guard experience in light of your later experience in the Marines?
It was a big help because I knew what to expect when I went in, except the drill. But we used to drill here, march around that floor out there. Everybody took a turn drilling the troops.
What was the armory like back then?
This
Pretty
building
much,
here?
yeah, pretty much the same.
Same. We had the locker room was up in the tower
How was it?
for the enlisted, and then down the next one down was the staff NCOs, and the officers had one on the main floor.
Okay. Was the balcony enclosed?
Yeah, except for like scout meetings. In fact, when I was in school, this is where we had to take gym. We walked from Catherine Street down here to take gym. They didn't have no buses in Saratoga.
Okay.
The only buses were for the Jewish baths. The spot buses.
Were there any changes over the years in the armory that
Well,
you remember?
in the building itself,
Yeah.
I don't think so. We had our drill meetings downstairs a lot for classes.
In the old classroom?
Yeah, like when I used to have to give instructions on how to take the machine gun apart, which was very tricky. You had to turn the thing to half a turn, and if you didn't let the pressure off slow, you go right through a 2x4. And if you were behind it, you'd go to you too.
Right. Was the building used by the community a lot?
Yes, Boy Scouts, they had the jamborees here all the time. You know, not once a year, but years. Well, they started here after the convention hall burnt down. That's where they used to do all that before that, and then they came up here. They used to have their pup tents set out, and their little campfires. And, it was really nice. They had model airplanes they made. It was, the community spirit was a lot better. You know?
Right. The let's see about the armory. What was out back? The garage wasn't there.
No, there was a coal yard.
Coal yard.
The train brought the coal in there, and in fact, a friend of mine lost his arm there. Got caught between the couplings.
Now, where the train tracks are no longer there, are they?
No, the BMW. B&M. Boston, Maine. Yeah, Boston, Maine.
So there's a coal yard right out back.
Yeah. In fact, that was the first diesel I seen was down there. Because before that, it was all everything was steam.
They didn't redo when they redid the turret. That was way before. One turret has been changed.
I didn't notice.
So that must have been a lot earlier.
Yeah, I think it was. That's where we had showers up there and everything. And our lockers for our uniforms.
So that was up on the third floor?
Yeah.
You used the rifle range downstairs?
No, it was out Saratoga, out Lake Avenue.
No, because there's a rifle range in the basement.
Maybe that was for 22s.
Probably.
We would fire the M1s out. It was a pistol for the police and the National Guard.
Okay, and that was where?
All the way out Lake Avenue. Probably where the Northway is now, because the Northway wasn't there then. It was past St. Clement's Church somehow.
So how did you get out there?
We had a truck.
Okay.
It was a Ford stake truck. That was National Guard truck. We had a couple Jeeps.
Any other equipment here?
No. We didn't have all what they got today. Because I used to ride with the guy who had the stake truck. We'd take the guys home to Schuylerville. They belonged to the Guard.
Oh, in the truck.
Yeah. They all rode in the back. I'd ride out with the driver and ride back because he was from town.
Now, what kind of equipment were they using back then? Was it World War I surplus or
M1 rifles.
M1 rifles?
We didn't use the 03.
Okay.
We had the M1s, carbines, and 45s, and machine gun, 30 caliber, 1919 A6 30 caliber, belt-fed, air-cooled, gas-operated.
Really? Yeah, I bet you. Can you still field strip one?
I don't think so.
No.
I could the M1 though. I tried to get one away from the Korean over in Vietnam because they gave them to the Koreans. We had the M16. I told them I'd trade them even because the M1 was a better weapon. It just wasn't as fast. And then need 4 guys to carry the ammo for you either.
He didn't take that trade?
No, he wanted to keep the M1. I didn't blame him.
Were these offices in?
I think this was the lieutenant's office.
Okay, so these offices have been here a while.
Yeah, but the big office over here, that was Sergeant Stevens' office. He was the first sergeant.
Okay, the one in the turret.
Yeah.
Okay, first sergeant was there. Where was the recruiter?
Didn't have no recruiter.
Didn't have any recruiters then?
Most of the guys bring their buddies in.
Okay.
Didn't need no recruiters. We was up to full strength.
Really?
Well, this was before Korea. Then after
Okay.
Korea, most of them took off, went into the regular army. Then they started getting them in.
Was the 105th activated during Korea?
No.
No.
Last time was World War II, Saipan.
Okay.
Most of the guys that were here, the sergeants were all in that.
Really?
Todd Brothers, Stevens, he was the first sergeant here.
They discussed their World War II experiences?
Not really.
Not really?
They just told you what you should do now. They didn't say what they did then.
So this was Company L.
Company L, 105th Infantry, 27th Division.
Any general thoughts to wrap this up on your military experience?
No, I was just, it was a good life. It still pays me every month.
Let me get that, a shot of you and the general. That one photograph you
Yeah.
had.
Oh, great.
All right, just explain who it is.
It's General Lewis H. Wilson. He was the commanding general of the 3rd Division, and later became Director of Education at Quantico, Virginia. He held the Medal of Honor.
And that's you right next to him.
That's me when I retired. He gave me that certificate.
Okay, great. Got it.
Okay.
How old when you were retired?
28 or 29.
Really? You're still a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boy, he's a tough-looking old bird.
yeah.
2-star.
He retired at 4-star though. Commandant on the Marine Corps after I left.
He must be 6-something? 6 foot? Big boy.
Yeah, his replacement was the same height.
Really?
General Barrows, he was over in Okinawa at the same time we were.
Interesting. He's a tough-looking dude.
Yeah, it's all on the back there.
Very nice. Very good. Well, thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr.
Can
Fleming.
you read that one letter about it?
Okay, here we go.
That's
Hold her steady.
from General Wilson.
General Lewis H. Wilson.
Certificate of Commendation.
Okay, got it.
Reunions?
No, they never had any of the units I was in.
Really?
No. I mean division, but they're always on the West Coast. Who can
Yeah.
afford to drive the West Coast?